It's an absolute pleasure today to have Harish on the podcast, all the way from India at the moment. I believe you're not in Dubai.
No, man, I'm flying to Dubai later on, but right now I'm in India.
So Harish is obviously based out in India, spends a lot of time in Dubai, phenomenal trainer, nutrition expert, and is based over in India and works obviously within that sort of demographic. Give us a brief intro of yourself and what you currently do and your background.
So hi guys, so I'm glad to be on this thing. And I've been into the fitness scene probably for maybe 8-9 years right now. Started as a fat kid, lost weight, the regular entire journey. And being an Indian, we really do not have access to as much knowledge or information as you would find for, say, a counterpart of mine, maybe in the western side of the path. So that is one thing that has forced me to learn a lot of things and experiment and figure out stuff for myself, which is also what ignited my passion to get into coaching people, because I see the same type of people struggling on a daily basis. And that was the reason I started with all training people online or helping them out with plans or guiding them. And it started out in a very mild manner, maybe 2 or 3 clients, and now it's booming. I'm getting a couple of junior coaches also set up, so it's picking up quite well.
It's good to hear. It's good to hear. It's very similar to myself, actually. Funny enough, when I hear that, because I originally came from being a fat kid when I was younger, and then so I resonate with that a lot. And genetically, I was never particularly gifted, so I've had to put a lot of time into learning. And obviously, the conversation we had before we get on the podcast is I'm about to go traveling around the US for 3 weeks learning. So and I can tell you're exactly the same from the content you put out on your Instagram, because it's very precise in the information, the way you articulate that, which instantly when I looked at your page, I can't remember how I came across, I had huge respect, which is why I reached out to you, because respectfully, I think that's something that, as you already stated, in India at the moment, the skill set is maybe slightly lower respectively compared to other areas in terms of knowledge.
True. Right now, see the Indian market, honestly, maybe right now because of the boom of Instagram and you see all these people posting informative stuff, teaching people how to do the workouts. And even in your own profile I've seen a lot of videos where you explain and you tell what the workouts are for. I think this huge input of content has helped scape the industry a little bit better. But considering that the average Indian doesn't even have access to the internet, and considering that 97% of the Indian fitness scene is largely unregulated. We don't have any kind of a gym chain over here or anything that has a kind of, I would say, a structure to it.
Exactly right. It's no straight. It's just a free for all.
Yeah, it's just you always see all these tiny gyms with absolutely no idea of even the guy who teaches over there. Probably they just get on, maybe do 1 or 2 contests, because somebody else guided them, and then they just repeat whatever they've learned and done for themselves.
Regurgitate information.
Yeah, it's just copy paste to every single client, and really doesn't work that way as you would you would have definitely seen with your clients as well. Everybody has to be you have to take into account a lot of different factors, make sure it's individualized, personalized to their needs. I think that's changing because a lot of people, because social media has given us this platform where we can reach so many people. And I think it's a good thing. It's a good start. But again, I'd say we're 10 years behind any other country right now in terms of fitness.
100%. But what I think is interesting is how much potential there is for growth there in terms of the fitness industry and how many lives can be changed. Because you bear in mind the population of India is astronomical. Bear in mind the size of the UK is 70 million. It's huge. So people like yourself, for example, have a huge scope to be able to help lots and lots of people at mass volume by providing the correct information, which you are.
True. The Indian population, another benefit of the population is that 60% of it is the younger population.
Yeah.
Age between, say, 20 to 30.
Yeah.
Ideally, the population that, you would target if you are trying to be a coach or a trainer, because this is the right age for these people to, get into fitness and everything else. And plus, considering that fitness industry has not even penetrated maybe 1 or 2% into the entire population, you have literally it's an untapped market.
Yeah, 100%. There's a lot of, obviously you've got Body Power India. There's a lot of bigger companies coming into India now to try and support obviously the growing demand.
3-4 years is where we've seen all these international brands, jump in. We have had, I think for the first time, Hani Rambot was here. I think this year for the Amateur Olympia. So Amateur Olympia is coming in. I think Jeff Seed is also bringing his contests to India. I think he's doing it maybe in the next 15 days. He's organizing a Jeff Seed Classic over here. So it's picking up the culture is also, growing. People are getting, like culturally, it was always
Yeah.
not what you would look towards, like, see, there's a split bit in India between the north and the south in terms of cultural views. Towards the northern side of India, people are more open towards, say, like physically getting fit or building your body.
Yeah.
That's been a part of the culture. But towards my side, like I live in the southern part of India. So
Yeah.
towards my side, the culture has always been more towards, like knowledge, education. You have to learn. You have to like engineering, doctor, stuff
Yeah.
like that. So
The official routes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So anybody who's out of the sync over there, it's not something that the society accepts. So there's never been much of an space for anybody to actually go or get into. But it's changing. People are accepting. So like I think this is the beginning of something which like eventually would start to become a massive movement, even like probably in the next 3-4 years.
I think what would be interesting, I don't know if you would agree, and I think would be the catalyst for a huge movement, is if you had like some breakout superstar come out in India who was Indian and like went like that. I reckon the whole thing would just go skyrocket. Obviously, it's like growing really, really fast, but then what you were saying in terms of like public opinion, how it's not really accepted by some people. If you had someone who was like a superstar who everyone loved, that would instantly transform everything overnight.
So I mean, we are trying to get people.
Yeah, 100%. Everyone is.
At the end of the day, it's all like multiple factors, man. Depends on your luck as well. But I mean, eventually, they are also looking at the things they can get back, right?
Yeah.
Being a superstar, like when you start giving or supporting things that people believe in, or the youngsters especially believe in, it works both ways.
Yeah, 100%. It's a two-way street. Now, come back obviously specifically to more like comparatively, what do you do with your clients? What do you find is the biggest challenges you face with clients from India in terms of like the diets at the moment? What you have to try and fix in terms of maybe comparatively compared to a Western diet?
See, comparatively, the Indian diet has traditionally been balanced enough.
Yeah.
Like, in terms of nutrition and everything else, it's always been more of a plant-based diet.
Yeah.
So the number one challenge would be, like to
get enough protein,
break their, get enough protein. And it's just like, it's the mindset is always that, like people believe that you actually put on weight because you eat non-vegetarian food, like eat beef, chicken. They believe that that's how you gain weight.
Yeah.
And the most ideal way that you should lose weight here is that you cut out all these things and go on a pure vegetable diet.
Yeah.
So that's been the dogma over here for quite a few years. So when you get a new client who is absolutely having zero knowledge about the industry, trying to get them to understand that protein is basically like one of the core components whenever it comes to any kind of physical transformation.
Yeah.
I'm getting to eat the same level of protein on a daily basis. It's really hard because like one thing I've noticed, like when I get a Western client, somebody who's not from the Indian background, it's very simple, straightforward. I tell them, listen, this is the plan, this is what you have to do, and this is how we're going to take things forward. They do it, and when they have some doubts, they get back to me. I help them out. That's the like the entire deal. But over here, the one thing I always notice is like clients in general they have a difficult time adjusting to like having a large amount of protein daily.
Yeah.
Because one, like any kind of a supplement, the stigma is still there.
Yeah.
They believe that it's something extremely unhealthy. It's going to like spoil your kidneys. You're going to end up
bad
with
skin, bad stomach, all that stuff.
Cancer, AIDS, or whatever. They just believe in it's the way that's been portrayed. So like they don't want to take any supplements, but at the same time, you ask them to, okay, fine, have some chicken or eggs on a daily basis. It's like, but how can I have it?
Yeah.
Like I'm not used to it, and even if they do have it, it's like I'm bored of it. I want to eat something else. So it's a
challenge.
Yeah, it's a challenge.
What do you have any other specific protein sources you would use then that are non-meat based, for example, specifically?
So it would be the most ideal if you ask me. Like even though there's a lot of negative views on it, I've done research, and to be honest, no matter, I think for regular consumption at what human level, like I don't think it's going to affect your estrogen level or your hormones in a negative way, because the dosage required would be extremely high, which is definitely not something you consume through food. So soya has been a really go-to source for me. Milk, dairy products, these are the the basic things that we can give them.
Yeah.
And another thing you have to understand, that in Hinduism, which is like the major religion over here, people like tend to on certain days not have non-vegetarian foods. So it's it's a challenge, like where you have to like give them certain days of vegetarian, certain days non-vegetarian.
I've had that with my own Indian clients, and I find that is that like respectful? Is that a religious thing, or is that?
It's more of a religious thing.
Yeah, I presume so.
And
then you use a lot more soya products, things like that, to try and balance out.
You have to balance it out, and then at the end of the day, it's like when the client also keeps switching routines between a vegetarian and non-vegetarian diet, they also tend to make mistakes, like in basic preparation of the food.
Yeah.
Like unless you are on a consistent basis having the same things on a daily thing, it's hard to like get an idea of what the quantities are, even if you measure them properly.
It's I think a lot of people don't also take into account the hidden calories in terms of what oils when adding that to food.
Yeah.
Respectfully, from my understanding, the Indian diet, they're quite heavy with oils in terms of like with vegetables and things like that. So like people don't see all these fats getting added into their foods. Essentially, they might look and see this is a plate of vegetables. This is healthy, but then it's got tons of like oils and fats, and then the calorie count's off the charts. Like
exactly. I mean, Indian diet has primarily been used to using a lot of oil because I mean, that's how they cook over here.
Yeah.
So the first instruction I give any client that I get on board is absolutely zero oil in your food.
Yeah.
Because when I say zero oil, that's probably when they're going to end up using maybe 10, 20 ml per day.
Yeah.
If you say little, it adds up to 100 ml easily.
Yeah, and that's crazy amount of calories.
Don't destroy you. That completely.
Crazy amount of calories. And in terms of like, obviously, you mentioned you use a lot of like protein from obviously it's like chicken, milk, eggs. Is there much fish in the diet with the Indian diet, or
fish, and that's more of an individual preference. I don't think that has to do with the regional preferences. It depends on the availability. If you're in a landlocked region, you really don't get fresh fish. Yeah. And for example, if you're in my city, mine's it's very close to the sea, so you get fresh fish over here. So but that varies a little bit, but. In terms of protein, see, the general idea is that, like most of these people that come here, right? See, the Indian culture, the families are very tight-knit.
Yeah.
It's not like, like once you're 18 or you're 19, you be independent and you're allowed to do whatever you want. Like irrespective of even if you're 25 or 30, you still have to like, you have these.
You have to play by the house rules.
Yeah. You have to play by the house rules, and your parents, like they kind of poke their nose into every single aspect. Yeah. So, like most of these guys that come to me, like even if you give them the diet, it's easy to convince these guys, but to convince their parents, I think that's an extra step most people wouldn't have to face, like you only deal with the client, but as an Indian coach, you deal with the parents of the client also.
So, they come along as well for the ride.
Yeah, it's a whole package that you get.
What's I imagine you've had a few parents be difficult in that respect then.
Yeah, I had parents who come to me, say, I've read all of this, so I'm as good as a nutritional expert, so please explain to me like why I should make a meat oats or chicken or whatever, and even if you do give them the scientific explanation, they really do not want to accept it, because they see it as if you're challenging their authority rather than
trying to undermine them almost.
Yeah, that's always the issue. And I mean, maybe they start 30 days 40 days in, and then at the end of the day, like the client is like, see, I have to give up, man. My parents keep pressurizing me. They're doing it, but they, like the constant nagging gets to you.
Yeah.
So I think these are the cultural aspects that would, make training an Indian client much more different.
No, 100%. How do you find? Obviously, you spend a lot of time in Dubai, and obviously at Banoush Gym, which is dope. How do you find it, like compared to Dubai to India? It must be like night and day, I imagine. Because, like, respectfully, Banoush Gym is probably my favorite gym in the world. It's awesome.
Seriously. I mean, the equipment over there, more than the equipment, the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Like the moment you head in, right, you want to like really go in and like crush your workout. It has all these like the videos of the bodybuilders working, the way it's been built. I think it's a complete system. You really don't get that anywhere over here. And frankly, I do not believe that we have a gym that's of equal size or equal of advanced equipments or anything over here back home. I mean, it's starting, people are investing money, but at the same time, like as a gym owner, if you're going to invest maybe $200,000 into the space, the amount of revenue that you can take from this, it's very low. People are not willing to pay as much as you would expect them to. I mean, in the north, again, it's a cultural thing. In the northern side of India, people are willing to pay a bit more, but towards the south, people do want the quality. There is a demand for it, but the number of people that have experienced something that is better is very less. So, like people really do not know what is a good thing.
They're not aware of it. Otherwise, everyone else is almost like respectfully ignorant a little bit because they don't understand.
Exactly, and people, like honestly, I would say this is the bad part of the gym owners is that like, see, most people over here, the gym owners, right? There are very few people that have competed, have been a bodybuilder, have been into the sport that put the gym. Most of them are from a business background. They just do it just for the money,
And they
or
don't understand.
yeah, they just put in shitty equipments imported from China.
But you would agree with this. You could tell straight away when you go to a gym. You could tell. I guarantee you could tell, like just using some of the equipment and what's there, whether the guy who owns the gym if he trains or not. Because you go into some gym, is like this equipment might look old, like this is sick, like it feels amazing. Whereas you go into something like this is just like what on earth is that? Like
that's the irony over here. The guys who actually train, who have been into the field, they're mostly from the poorer side of the economy, so that they cannot afford to put a gym. And even if they do afford, it's more of like like a garage gym kind of a setup that people just come and train. And the guys who do have the money absolutely no fucking idea, or they don't care. It's just about making money for them. And like honestly, maybe 3 gyms in my entire city that I can recommend openly. Okay, it's a good gym, you can go there.
What's the best gym in India?
That's a really tough question, man. Honestly,
I pick up the spot now.
No, yeah, you put me in a really tough spot, man. Honestly, I wouldn't say that the best one I used would be the one I go to right now.
Okay.
This is called Pounds in Anna Nagar, like the area. So it's okay compared to Benos. It's not. It's 10% maybe. But then again, it's one of the best that I've used. And that's the problem. Like nobody here focuses on like a bodybuilding kind of a thing, like workouts or like that field, or like a powerhouse gym. There's nothing of that sort over here.
Yeah,
I couldn't call these fitness centers, not gyms. Maximum.
Like in the UK, we call them leisure centers.
Probably.
I just thought probably because everyone trains as leisurely that they don't really push themselves.
Definitely. I think I'm going to start using the term one that fits much better than a fitness.
They just go and chill out and do a couple of reps, talk to their mates for a bit, and then.
Exactly. That's what happens 90% over here. And I think frankly, like the owners are also fine as long as the money comes in. And like I think we had Kai Green come in recently to open a couple of gyms over here, and I was I was happy. Like we got literally one of the top people in the industry over here, so I'm pretty sure the gym is going to be amazing. And I go there and I find all shitty equipment imported from China. They've spent more money on Kai Green for marketing than on the equipment.
Yeah, it's funny enough you say this about the equipment. So I had this conversation with someone today because you get so much crap knockoff, like fake equipment that comes from China, and as soon as you even touch it, you're like,
definitely, it is shitty.
Yeah, it like not upsets me. I don't really care. It's not my gym, but like when you go into places and you're like, why didn't you just spend a bit more, or get decent stuff? It's just I just put my hand in my head, my head in my hands. It's just like it's frustrating.
I know. I mean, and as a person, like people like us who truly care about the sport. I mean, that would be the biggest turn off, right?
Yeah, straight away.
It all look shiny and good, and then you like fucking start your work and like, what the hell is this?
The leg extension pad's bent or something already.
Oh shit, man! Yeah, I know the thin bars. You can't even squat more than 120, 140. Like that's probably like like 90% of the Indian setup over here.
Yeah.
And another aspect in terms of training is that like I don't think people understand or try to understand the concept of why they train. I don't know if it's a regional thing, but that's one thing I've seen. Like for example, you do maybe your chest workout or your lat. It's more like I'm just going to try and pull this thing down. I don't care how it works out in my body.
There's no conscious thought of what's going on.
Exactly.
I said to you, that's why I liked your content and the way you put things across and the way you articulate information, because instantly that caught my eye, because it's, again, respectively, it's very unusual to see that from like someone from India to try and put across that like intelligent information. So huge credit to you for that, because you're definitely leading the way in that respect over there.
I mean, I the same as you, man. I've been trying to learn. I've been to the UK a couple of times to learn from Martin. I'm not sure if you know from Martin McDonald.
Yeah, Martin McDonald. Yeah, I had a good chat with him recently actually in Barcelona at a seminar.
So I was there for a seminar. I'm also doing this course right now so that like they can get at least a good level of knowledge. And I'm coached under. I'm not sure if you know this person, Callum from Muscle.
Yeah. I know Callum Waitwick.
Yeah. So I'm getting coached by him right now, so that I really admired his way of training, because honestly, that the way he approaches training, the way he talks about it, the way he gives you the reasons, and the way he innovates on every single workout.
Yeah.
which is something I've learned from. And I think the changing path in the way I train people came when I met Eugene.
Yeah.
Eugene, yeah. So I was workshop in Hong Kong. So that's when he was telling me about all these neural pathways and like how every single movement in your body affects the way your muscles work out, and that has what like sparked my thought process into the entire thing. And that's the way I started like changing the workouts for my clients, seeing if it works, adjusting the angles. And I don't think anybody does that over here so far. It's more about like mad weights. I don't give a fuck. It's just ram it. And I don't think the eccentric, like controlling your eccentric, nobody does that over here as well. It's more like just profit.
That's for me is a very similar sort of thing. I'm a big Ben Pakulski fan, and like I have gone on tons of seminars. Him, Milos Sarcev, guy Scott Stevenson this year, like loads. And you never stop learning. And I think the moment you think you know everything, you know nothing, because there's so many different ways to get the end result you're looking for. And I think, like, and to be honest, we have the same thing in the UK a lot. There's like progressive overload, like it's obviously what Callum recommends, but he recommends it within the realms of correct form and tension. Whereas many like people take that like as just like an extreme of like how much I move.
Just how much I can load.
Yeah. Whereas like if you're doing a bench press and you're just doing as heavy as possible, you're only going to contract at the bottom because you're not actually engaging through the movement. And like scientifically, studies show that once you go over 85% of your 1 rep max, you can't actually consciously contract anything because you're just thinking basically
just
die.
Just push it. Yeah.
Fight or flight.
Exactly. And I think that's not something that's one thing I've always seen as a difference between the way I've seen people in the UK or the US train compared to the people over here, trainers. I've seen people train really hard, but it has absolutely no sense to it in terms of volume. I've had people who do 40, 50, 60 sets for a muscle group in a single day. Jesus. Like 2.5 hours. I'm like, dude,
but you and me both know if someone's doing that much volume, they're training like a pussy, because there's no way
exactly
in a million years you could do that.
Exactly. I know, like the first time I got trained by a local person here. I think that was the first experience for me into a gym. So, like for example, if you do chest, you literally do 10 different variations and 5 sets on everything for 20 to 30 reps. That's like the basic program.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. Like whatever you do everything. Like whatever's available, just make sure you hit everything, in case you forget.
We can't miss anything that way. We'll just do everything.
So that's one of the things, man. I mean, the way we train would be the number one thing that I would like to change about the Indian market right
now. Do you think
that
would be the biggest catalyst that would make the most change, is changing actually the way people train, not the nutrition?
Yeah, I think nutrition, it's easy. It's very easy to change right now. People are open to supplements. They're becoming more open. See, I have my own brand of supplements that we manufacture. And honestly, I've never tried to sell it to my own clients. Like my approach to any kind of a diet program would always be to use natural food sources, get them started with it. And one thing that, coaching people for the last 3 years that I've noticed is that gradually more and more people, they approach me on their own to ask for supplements. They're like, bro, can we use this? I would like to try, I want to take these things. So, that has been on the increase. So, diet, it's okay. And now eating non-veg is also considered normal. You can get, people, there's a lot of sources that's available. Guys are willing to do. The next generation, to be honest, they're open to all of these things. But training, really hard to do it online, man. You cannot teach someone online. And I've been trying to breaking my head, trying to figure out how do you do that?
I've had the similar sort of thought process. It's in terms of correcting form. The problem isn't not even the form. It's trying to teach someone what intensity is. Because
exactly.
It's relative. And until someone's been pushed to that level,
it's hard.
No idea.
Exactly.
No idea.
And they don't understand what a workout should be like, how your muscle should be, or how you should feel during the workout, what it should be forced on, how a proper one feels. And I had a couple of clients, they've been with me for maybe a year or so, and I literally would have broken my head trying every single tool I had in my book, and I would see absolutely zero change. So, there was a client who was in the Philippines, who had absolutely zero change. So I told him, listen, I'll sponsor your ticket. You fly out to India, stay with me for a week. I got him here, pushed him on all the workouts for a week, taught him the basic form. And the moment he goes back within the 3 months, he's a completely different physique.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we need to be able to do this.
And it's funny you say that, because that for me is always the thing where when someone's nutrition set up perfectly, their workouts are set up perfectly, and they're not making progress, you're like, well, you're either cheating on the diet and you're like swearing to God that you're not. So therefore you must be training like an absolute pansy, because it's like, it's impossible. It wouldn't be working. It's science.
True.
And I don't know if you do the same. For me, I always find it fascinating. Like I caught one of my clients out probably a couple of weeks ago. Like I always watch people's last rep. If their last rep, if they're not even slowing down, they just stop. You're like, what the fuck was that? Like you haven't even started yet. Like that's where it begins.
True, man. And this misreporting, the adherence is, I think it's a common thing in throughout. Yeah. And I've also noticed that like whenever, especially a client says that like they're following the diet and they're not seeing results, especially like when you put a guy who's 120 on maybe 1,800 calories, because like you've been trying to push it and he's not budging. He's like, I'm still following the diet.
That's when you know it's bullshit, because it's if someone weighs 120 kilos or eating 1,800 calories a day, they should be losing 2 kilos a week. Easy.
Exactly. And they're like, I'm not. Then that's when like, okay, fine, let's go for like a 0 carb diet for the next 3 days to see how you respond. And that's when they get caught.
Yeah.
Because if they go 0 or not, man, you at least lose water weight.
Yeah.
If not years.
Yeah.
So that's a couple of things that over the years, I think.
So those challenges are international. They're not just in India. So you have those in the West and with American clients. So I have a lot of clients that are in America, and those things. For anyone listening, if you fuck up on your diet, just tell us, because it makes life easier.
Exactly, and at least help us make it easier for you to follow it, rather than beat around the bush.
Well, yeah, because we like yourself and me, will both make informed decisions on the information they provide. And if they're saying to us, your diet is 100% and you're not making progress, well, you're actually the one shooting yourself in the foot, because most likely we're going to end up having to cool your food down when we actually probably shouldn't be, because you're actually eating more than you should be anyway.
Exactly.
So you're
I think it stems from the reason that they look at the way they look at the coach.
Yeah.
To be honest, I mean rather than looking at it as a person who's going to help them and like be with them on the journey, they look at us like a school teacher, and it's like, this is funny, man. Like I make a mistake, I can't let the teacher know. I mean, like, dude, you're an adult, so like start thinking like one.
But ultimately, it's not your problem. It's not my problem. Like, I'm in shape. I don't like. Respectfully, it's not my problem. Like, I'm not the one who's trying to lose weight. So you're only yourself. Like, at the end of the day.
I think like it all boils down to. I mean, we are getting an app developed right now.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to like pull together all the problems that I face coaching people online, and we are trying to figure out how we can use technology to solve it. So hopefully once this is out, I should be able to like get rid of at least 30-40% of all these bullshit excuses. And I mean, like increase the responses that we see.
Yeah, 100%. The challenges that come are crazy. And I think that's one thing we are lucky with now. I was just funny enough, I was thinking about the other day sounds strange, but people get bored doing cardio. And I was like, you get bored doing cardio now, you've got stuff, you can watch stuff on your phone, videos. Like 15 years ago, you couldn't do that. Like,
Exactly. And it's just, I believe that, like people have been led to like think that it's going to be an extremely easy thing. All you have to do is pop a pill, and a lot of people come to the gym expecting that, and when like you tell them no, you don't, but you have to actually do some work to get there. I think they just can't accept it.
No, 100%. What do you think is the future for the fitness industry in India? What do you think?
It's bright. It's extremely bright, and honestly, right now anything goes, man. Anything. It's like the Wild West. Anything goes. You can sell anything. Regulations are not in place for any kind of including coaching or like for your diet or anything. Like usually the supplements that, honestly, openly speaking, the supplements that get manufactured within India and get sold over here, or including the supplements that have been imported, 90% is fake.
Yeah.
If it is a genuine piece of supplement that's been manufactured within India, that means that you get only 30% of the product that you pay for. Literally, it's sugar powder, man. Sugar powder.
And is that still pretty rife, even with all sorts of supplements across the board?
I'm sorry?
Is that the problem with all supplements there across the board? There's a lot of counterfeiting with everything.
It's over here. It's quite common to like find either counterfeit supplements or that like get under quality ones, because like, I mean, it has to again do with the entire market as a whole. People want cheap stuff, and I think at the end of the manufacturer cannot like magically put something, so they end up with this compromise, like where they put in 30% protein, 70% carb powder, make it really tasty, and like sell it for cheap as shit prices.
The thing is, you even get that everywhere though, like, unfortunately, and that's where you have to be so careful with which brand of products you use, because like the whole proprietary blend bullshit and like in the US and like labeling laws are so vague in terms of what you can get away with. And like people will bring out a product that's amazing and then they'll change the formula after 6 months to make it.
They do it a lot, man. I mean, we have a company over here. I mean, that did it a couple of years back. So, their trick with their sale was they launched a mass gainer,
Yeah.
but in the mass gainer they actually mixed in Dynabol.
Okay.
So, like first 6 months, everybody's like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" You're like growing full, yeah. And then like plug it out, change it, and then just say like you're not doing it properly anymore. So yeah, shit, anything goes. Like I said, man, complete wild west over here. Anything goes.
Do you think that will change?
Hopefully it should. I'm pushing to change it. I hope that other people in my industry, like over here, they also, I mean, the experts at least should feel the need as someone who's from the industry, who's been made by the industry, and out of the love for the sport that we care so much, to hopefully, like try and change all these things.
And what do you see? Where do you see your future within the fitness industry? What are your goals?
Hopefully, man, get to a place where like I can influence government decision in terms of fitness. That's the place I want to be at.
That's awesome.
Because honestly, I don't think I can make any meaningful impact just shouting on social media, unless I can use the same resources, the same support from the public to channelize it into a way where we can bring in actual legal measures.
Actually into the infrastructure of the society, essentially.
Exactly. So now, like, I want a couple of things that I am working on right now is to make somehow that the government to accept to make basic nutrition education compulsory for school children, at least for the last like grade 11 and 12, so that everybody who comes out has a basic understanding of nutrition, and they don't get.
That's something again that I'm very passionate about. Like I've been like funny, probably the same thing where I was a fat kid as well. We both were when we were younger. It's probably why we both think the same way. Like I've been racking my brains about how can you solve this, because like there is no education system, like even in the UK, in the US, they don't care about like teaching children about like why you should eat things or why not, and how to actually eat correctly. And you could solve the whole obesity epidemic if you kill it at like when people are 10, 12 years old and they understand why they don't eat Pop-Tarts for breakfast. Do you know what I mean? Like,
and I believe it has more to do with the way the education system has been structured, man. Honestly, nobody gives a fuck about your life skills. No. It's all about grades, and honestly, I don't think
memory retention.
Yeah, I mean, you need your life skills, you need your soft skills, you need to know how to like lead your life in a healthy way. Unless you get all these things in place, you're not going to do anything meaningful in your life.
No, 100%.
So, like that has been one of the things that we've been trying to do, like make education a compulsory part, bring in a regulation where like if you want to claim yourself as a PT, you need to be certified by the government or government recognized things. And the challenge with all these things is getting the actual experts to agree on one thing. I think that is also the issue with the nutrition side of things. For example, Martin says so many things, and he teaches us to understand research and to think for ourselves, critically think. And going through all the things that he's taught us, I believe that we are on the right path with whatever information that is available to us right now. But the same thing, I've seen a lot of registered dietitians who put out shitty stuff, like not only here, man, throughout the world. Like detox teas,
absolute teas.
Exactly, absolute hot shit. No, it's just like I don't know if they're actually believing it or just like for the money they're going to do all this shit. But unless that side of the expert panel also comes into this thing, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. Because even if I do make the government agree to like put it in, then the syllabus becomes a huge issue. Like who to listen to.
Yeah, and who implements it, who understands it.
Exactly, and like any expert right now in India is 60, 80 years old, meaning way fucking back on education, bro.
Well, that's me. Yeah, the information they know is 80 years old.
Exactly, and 70% of the doctors I've spoken to still believe whey protein is dangerous to you. Still believe your kidneys are going to fall out of your ass if you have 2 scoops per day. So like we recently had some famous guy over here come on YouTube and say that every scoop of whey protein you take stays in your body for 3 years. I'm like, what the fuck, dude?
How the fuck does it stay in your body for 3 years? The macronutrient like source, it doesn't.
Exactly, man. Exactly, and like that's a huge thing. And the recent challenge we've been having, I'm not sure, man. Have you seen TikTok?
Yeah. Of course, I've got TikTok. Yeah.
The bullshit they put over there. So like ever since that platform's come out, it's again like internet from 1990s, man. Anything, everything goes over there. So I've seen these guys who own supplement shops. I recently saw a video where he brings out a fat burner.
Yeah.
And he's like have this for 2 weeks and you grow your arms by 1 inch. I'm like, dude, that's a fucking fat burner. And if you're gonna exaggerate it, at least
Make it relatable to the goal, yeah.
Yeah. So anything goes there, man. I know there are these guys that fucking say you can lose 10 kilograms in a week by drinking a mix of honey, lime, and some other herbs. So all this. So you're trying to educate the people on one side, hopefully thinking that the next generation is going to come in, and there are these assholes out there trying to screw up with the next generation before those guys, even get to know what is right or wrong.
It's it's a treacherous industry, I think.
Exactly, man. I mean, and it also has to do with like you and me, we are trying to bring out the right stuff over here, and it's a good that I can see a lot more people trying to do the same thing.
Yeah.
But there's a number of people who still just want to bullshit people and make money is still higher.
Yeah.
That until the industry as a whole changes, it's a tough battle. But
I think it's one of those things you can tell straight away from someone's true values, by the way they carry themselves and what they do. For example, you see that you train all the time and you go train at decent gyms, and that means a huge amount to you. I do the same. That's why I'm so devout, almost showcasing of what I do, because I would never want to come across as one of those snake oil salesmen who's just trying to sell training programs, because this is my passion and pride in what I love doing, and I want to try and learn as much as I can, so then I can showcase and provide that knowledge to help other people as well as myself.
Exactly. And that I think that is really good. The generation of us, I think I've seen a lot of people who have had a similar story to what we have had.
Yeah.
I was extremely skinny. I changed. Because we have created ourselves through our own struggle.
Yeah.
And there was no magic guiding light for us. We had to experiment, do shit the hard way.
I had to learn, because I made shit. You know what you said earlier about the Indian what standard workouts, do everything. That's what I used to do the first few times at the gym. I was went for 4 hours. I just did every exercise, and then I went to KFC and ate everything I could, and I thought that was what you had to do.
True, man. I mean, I've done some crazy shit. When I was trained by all the local guys, I was this one time. I was when I started to lose weight. So this coach comes to me and he's like, "You train with me." He's a kind of celebrity coach over here. So he gave me a routine that lasts for 12 hours a day.
12 hours?
12 hours. I'm not even joking. It's 6 hours jogging split into 3 with workouts and a bit of tennis in between. And he's just throw in whatever you want, swimming, do everything. He made me lose, I think, 55 kilograms in 5 months. But not in a good way, man. But in a really shitty, I was I'm going to die. I'm starving. This is a Holocaust kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Literally skeletonish.
That's not ideal.
And the second advice I got from him to put on muscle, because I was feeling I was extremely skinny like a skeleton. He was you need to eat at least 3 kilograms of potatoes to put on muscle every day.
8 kilos?
Yeah, 3 kilos of potatoes.
Where do people get these ideas from?
I know. And I still tried it. And the only thing I put on was a big fat stomach.
I bet your digestion was great as well with 3 kilos of potatoes a day.
That's shitty, man, shitty. So, that's when, after a point you realize that you cannot trust anybody and, you'd rather just experiment with.
And learn for yourself.
Exactly. I've tried every single kind of a diet out there, every keto, paleo, whatever you train. I just do it for the fun sometimes.
Do you think, because I get frustrated, I'm trying to swear, with how in the West, for example, people get very easily lured in by vegan diet. Oh, let's do this. Everyone get in shape.
That's quite common, man.
All this stupid shit that comes a new headline, and people think this is the one answer to everything, when realistically, simply, you mean both of the most basic terms, but losing weight is what most people are trying to do. Move more, eat less, in terms of calories, you will get leaner. That is what it really is. But people look for one golden answer of vegan fucking diet, or never eat a carbohydrate again, or whatever it might be.
The problem with all these things and all these diets is that they do not understand the underlying principles or the reasons they've been used for the studies. It's they have to understand that everything is a tool, and you have to use the right tools for the right person for the right situation. I mean, for example, if you're a diabetic and you want to put them on a low carb diet or control their carbohydrates and make sure that they get back to insulin sensitivity, something of a keto-ish diet makes sense.
Yeah,
but not for someone who's going to be not for someone who's in India. Man, honestly, keto diet in India is like an oxymoron.
Yeah,
Like,
that's part of why I asked, because I was like, I couldn't see that really going well.
I'm asking for a keto vegetarian diet, and they're like, I don't take milk also. I'm like, fuck, you just get lost. How do you do a keto vegetarian diet which is without even milk? I mean, like that is.
I had a good one a few days ago. We had a vegan diet, but they didn't want to eat any tofu or soy products. And I was like,
That's
literally, I was like, so what do you eat? Like literally, like I can give you lettuce. Like, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, people don't help themselves.
I mean, I've had to like drop quite a few clients because they really don't understand. They really don't want to have a coach. It's like they're like, I want a keto diet from you, so just tell me the price. Like, dude, that is not how coaching works. Like it's not like I have something on hand. I'm like slap it on your face and take your money. You have to like. That's I think again a misconception by all these idiots. They sell all these like 12-week plans, 3-week plans, and I'm like, like stop selling that, dude. It's not helping anybody. That's the reason I've also changed the way I refer to my programs and the coaching and everything. Like I make sure that any client that comes in goes through the calls, goes through my juniors, and make sure that they qualify, they're understanding what the thing is. So like I've set up a system so that like any new client that comes from this year, they will have a call discussing their goals, and we will literally sit with them and for free of cost plan out their entire journey. Explain to them how we have to do it, what are the phases, like why you have to take a break between cuts, why you have to maintain for some time, give them proper knowledge, and give them a plan, even if they don't join my program. So that even if they're going to go do it somewhere else, they at least know that like this is the time frame that you have to give it. Principles, and like we make sure to educate them, and I think that has been working very well recently. Like once you take the time to explain it to these people, they also like understand that it is more of a lifestyle thing.
Yeah, 100%.
And on the positive side from that, I've had like a lot of people join me for a year directly. Like I want to join you and give me the year plan, or like give me the membership for a year or something like that, rather than compared to previously, like where people used to take bulk for a month or for 3 months, and like at the end of 3 months, like, oof, I don't know where you guys went, but hey, I'm here, kind of a thing. Like I think that's a good thing. Like the idea when you say it's a 3-month or 6-month plan is that they don't understand that you can go beyond that.
Yeah,
it's like I'm going to do it for 3 months and then I'm going to go back to my lifestyle and get fat again. So like
then they just yo-yo.
Exactly. So like that's one thing that has been helpful from my side, like trying to like educate all these people.
Yeah, that's for me. That's why I try to explain to everyone like it's a longer term process than like just 8 weeks, 12 weeks, whatever. Like it's lifestyle transformation.
True. To all these challenges that like I tell them when we start the challenge, this is just to help you get started, just a kickstart. You have to understand that they're trying to teach you the basics of what you have to do here, and like this is just the beginning. You need to keep applying whatever you learn on a longer term basis. And it's been useful, man. The challenge that we conducted last time, I believe, would be one of the first kind of. I don't think people do challenges over here like they do in the West. So like what I conducted like last year would be one of the very first of its kind in India.
Yeah.
Like we had a lot of good responses. Like we had a couple of people who flew over from different cities for the dinner.
Yeah.
And, they were emotional because like nobody has ever taken the time to teach us stuff. Like we didn't know there was a venue, and that kind of makes you understand because like us, right? We are always surrounded by experts, and we are always consuming content on a much higher level.
Knowledge, yeah.
We cannot understand, how a normal or a regular person would think, and like why not Google? But then do you think from their side you understand that when they fucking Google and be like, what is this? We can't understand any kind of the terminology over here.
100%. In terms of obviously like you and yourself, how come you spend so much time out in Dubai?
I'm going to set up my new company over there, and my supplements, we are taking global. We're planning to expand into the US, UK, Europe as well. Like the was that Dubai is like more like like the central place, and like the port is very friendly, open port, so would act as an ideal place from where I can ship it to all the different countries and other things.
Cool. Well, I think we'll start to wrap things up there, Harish. We've been chatting for a while. It's been a fascinating conversation. For anyone to find out more about you, what you do, what's the best place to get in touch?
Instagram. That's the only place I'm active.
What's your Instagram handle?
It's Harish94, HARESSH94.
Cool. Awesome. So I'll add your Instagram into the show notes. Really, really appreciate that. And as always, for anyone who leaves a 5-star review on the podcast, I'm giving away 1 free place on the Shred Nate program, which I'll announce at the end of the week. Thank you so much for that, dude. Absolute pleasure, and really, really enjoyed that conversation. So thank you.
Take care.